How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. We don't have too much to talk about today, but we're going to run through some of the recent Formula One results, some IPL, and then we're going to take a quick look at the upcoming weekend of EPL fixtures, as well as a chat about the Newcastle sale, which I think Simon and I are both quite excited about.
Yeah.
Let's start off with that one. I think that's the big news. Newcastle are now the richest club on paper, I guess, in the Premier League.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it was, look, if we want to sort of start competing at the sort of upper echelons of English football, I think you have to spend money. And I mean, Mike Ashley simply wasn't willing to do that. So I think this acquisition is exactly what we need. Obviously, it's a big Saudi-led investment group controlled by the Crown Prince himself. So there's certainly no shortage of money. And I think I can't be glad enough that a tormenting, I think, couple of decades actually with Mike Ashley at the helm has come to an end. And I think it's about time we got our hands a little dirty with some oil money.
Yeah, what's it? 14 years, I think, under Ashley now, and
Yeah,
yeah,
hell
just
of
to
a long
just
time.
to put it into perspective, the Man City owner's net worth is 23 billion pounds, whereas the Saudi Public Investment Fund, or the owners of Newcastle now, are worth 320 billion. So
Wow.
more than what 12, 13 times more
Yeah,
than the owners of Man City.
it's
The,
unbelievable.
the new owners do come with a couple of catches. I mean, I'm not a big supporter of the Saudi government and the
Mm.
way they treat journalists. So,
Yeah,
kind of a little bit of, I don't want to say blood money, but you know, as a Newcastle fan, I'm just happy that we're gonna hopefully get some proper investment into the club.
yeah.
It's
Look, I
from a
mean,
questionable source, but
if this doesn't get us competing, then I think nothing will. So
yeah.
this is last chance saloon. But I feel confident that we're going to see some good things coming from the club.
And believe it or not, Newcastle are one of the richest clubs in the world, just because of their, the support and the history and the big
Mm,
stadium and all of that. So it's about time we see something positive coming out of the northeast, and
absolutely.
hopefully some big signings, in the next transfer window,
Yeah. Oh, what a long time coming. It'll be great to see what
and
happens.
and probably I'm also suspecting there's going to be a new manager pretty soon.
Oh, sure. No, there's no doubt about that, I think.
Right, let's jump into some of the, well, not some of the F1 results. It was
Mm.
Turkey that we were chatting about.
Yeah, so that was the Istanbul. Well, it was the Turkish Grand Prix in Istanbul. It was actually Valtteri Bottas who won for the first time this year. It's obviously Lewis Hamilton's teammate at Mercedes. Hamilton himself made up six places on the grid to finish fifth, which actually was actually just enough to beat Red Bull on points in the race. Even though Max Verstappen claimed second and Sergio Perez came in third. But it was. I mean, Bottas did really well. He held the lead right from the start over Verstappen, and he led for the majority of the race. And then, but he did finish in style. He overtook Charles Leclerc of Ferrari for victory, and right in the closing stages. Who didn't change his tires and was just getting slower and slower and slower, and eventually Bottas managed to take him. But
Actually, yeah, I actually caught some of the Grand Prix for a change. Not
okay,
not much of
nice,
it, but I did give a couple glances to it.
yeah.
We were having a Brian. My sister was there, and she had it on. So
Okay,
why
good.
not?
Yeah,
Why not?
well, I must say, I think that this win well, it's just what Bottas needs, I think, going into next season with Alfa Romeo. He's obviously made the move from Mercedes, and obviously he's been living in Hamilton's shadow for the past couple of years. So I think it'll be a nice boost of confidence for him towards the end of the season. But with that, I mean, we always talk about the sort of jostle between Verstappen and Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. But with his second place finish, obviously over Hamilton, who finished fifth, it's back with Max. He's leading. So yeah, it's interesting. It's gonna. I think it could really go down to the final race this season. Who wins that drivers' championship?
Yeah,
That should be very
sorry, they
interesting.
got the they got the dogs a bit crazy in the background. I hope it's Verstappen rather than Hamilton. Although I do
Oh, it would
suspect
be great.
Hamilton
Yeah,
will probably pull it together. He did have some disagreements with his team over the
he
tires, I
did.
believe it was.
He did. And I mean, look, Mercedes were definitely quicker going in the qualification, in qualifying, and in practice. So the fact that look, they did just nick it, as I said, with that. with that fifth and first. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he didn't want to get pulled into the pits at all. He thought he was going to manage to do the whole race without any tire change, which is, well, I mean, I guess it would have been possible, but I'm not convinced that that would have made all the difference. But it's Hamilton always is. I wouldn't say he's a sore loser, but I think he's always got a lot to say when he doesn't win a race.
Yeah.
So I would take that with a pinch of salt.
And then going on to some football, we've got South Africa who are looking all right to,
Yeah.
during the World Cup qualifiers, beating Ethiopia away from home.
Yeah, I mean, they were quite strong favorites, so 4-10 favorites to win that, so they were expected to win. But look, I mean, every day we can keep our World Cup 2022 hopes alive, I think, is a good day. So, let's hope we can keep pushing. I mean, we're above Ghana in the group, we're top of the group. So let's see. I mean, hopefully we can see Bafana play in, I mean, the world's biggest football stage in
Yeah,
Qatar
it would
next
be
year.
a nice return. When was the last one? 2010. The one we hosted was the
Yeah, the
last
one we
time
hosted.
we saw them.
Yeah, so it's been 11 years. So it would be great to see them, compete in Qatar. That would be wonderful.
And it's been what, 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw. So good for Bafana. They're scoring 5 goals in
Yeah,
the process.
not too
Tough,
bad.
pretty tough group with Ghana. Well, Zimbabwe very, very underwhelming in that group, and Ethiopia I
Mm,
thought would be the whipping boys, but
yeah,
Zimbabwe and soccer's gone quite backwards by the by the looks of it.
yeah.
So good stuff for South Africa there, and then there's also there's been some internationals going on. It's
Mm.
UEFA Nations League finals.
Yeah, so the last round of this tournament actually happened nearly a year ago. It was interrupted by COVID. So, October 2020 was when we last saw the group stages, and it got to this semi-final stage, and then they put it on hold. So, we had the semis and the final in the week, and the final actually happened on Sunday, which was the only game I did manage to catch, which was a 2-1 win for France over Spain. So they won the cup. It was actually a really nice. It was a good game. I mean, there were no goals before the 64th minute, but it was a very intense affair. But then the match kind of sparked into life with a Spanish goal first. But Mbappe scored the winning goal. But I mean, even after Mbappe scored that got France 2-1 over Spain, they had to put on quite a defensive performance to stop Spain from equalizing with another goal. So it was a good game actually.
And then in the middle of all of that, we've also had some World Cup qualifiers. Not much to talk about on that side, except there was a game with England last night, and they
Yeah,
they drew 1-1 with Hungary. It was a bit yeah, not playing at Wembley. I mean,
yeah,
very disappointing result. Hungary have
yeah.
shown some mettle
Well,
recently. I
that's
mean,
the
in the
thing. I mean,
Euros
yeah,
and
that's. I suppose exactly. I mean, I think obviously England are favoured. They're expected to win, but I think they surprised a lot of people in the Euros. I think they did perform a bit better than everyone expected. So maybe not the worst result from England, but yeah, still surprising nonetheless.
and our Southgate before the match was crying about saying it's criminal that he has to leave players out of the squad. He had so much talent available to him, and then the result just kind of
Yes.
fell flat. So a
Yeah.
bit of egg on his face there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, so not too much to talk about. We're gonna be back with some Premier League action, fortunately. And I mean, have you had a close look at the fixtures for this week? There's not too much to get excited about. Lots of kind of minnows, smaller sides playing against the bigger ones. I think the
Yeah.
biggest match is maybe Newcastle versus Tottenham. It's not saying a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's sort of an absolute sort of standout fixture this week. I think Leicester hosting United will probably have, I imagine, the sort of the top viewership numbers. But there's not a hell of a lot going on. I must say, I'm very excited to see Newcastle's first game against Spurs. So that'll be interesting. But I think, yeah, I mean, just going back to Leicester going to United, I think that should be a good one. I quite like both teams to score there. You can get odds of about 1.67 at Betway, but if you shop around, I think you'll find something a little closer to maybe 1.72, which I think is a little bit more attractive and from an odds perspective. But I think we might see quite a few goals in that one. What do you think, Rob?
Ooh, I coming off a break. It's difficult to call.
Hmm.
I'm not overly excited. I'm not as excited about that game as you are. I'm just.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a weekend where I'll only catch one match. So oof. I haven't really looked at that fixture in much detail, so I'm not going to make a call there.
Yeah.
And another interesting fixture, I thought one that we could chat about was Brentford against Chelsea, with
Mm.
Brentford just looking in kind of really really good form,
Yeah.
picking up surprise results. They're heavy underdogs, playing at home, 6.6 over on GBets.
Mm.
Chelsea 1.6. Obviously, Chelsea are also in quite a vein of decent form. So it's I would like to see Brentford pick up a result here. They've only lost one of their last five. They're playing at home. They've faced decent opposition. They've played Liverpool.
Yeah.
Maybe a draws on the cards here. I think there's
Mm.
going to be goals in this one. To be honest, I think that's one that should be much more, well, for me at least, entertaining when in the goals
Yeah.
department.
No, sure. I agree. And just going back to that Newcastle Spurs game, I mean, I was just looking at doing a bit of digging into the stats there. I mean, as much as I would obviously love to see a Newcastle win there, I mean, we haven't actually, or we haven't won a match since early August, since beating Norwich 3-0 in a friendly. And you have to go back to 2016 for the last time Newcastle actually won at home against Spurs. And that was actually an impressive 5-1 win in the final week of the EPL that season.
I
So,
remember that one. Wasn't that the one where Spurs were contesting for something? Was it? There was something on the line for Spurs in that
mm,
game for some reason.
mm.
I don't know if I'm
I,
thinking
I
right.
I remember watching that game myself as well. Yeah, that was a good season that actually, but yeah. So it's look, it's a big ask for Newcastle, but who knows? That when you have these kind of events happening around clubs, often you do get surprise results. But I think look, obviously realistically, before we start buying players and real change starts happening, it's probably an unlikely result.
Yeah,
But another one.
it's hard to look past Spurs in that one, to be honest.
Mm, mm. Another one I think that looks quite interesting is Everton at home against West Ham. And I think, I mean, this looks like a game to me that could really go either way. I would actually give West Ham the edge here, though, despite the bookmakers favouring Everton slightly. I mean, you can't, I don't think, take anything away from West Ham's loss against Brentford last week, which was right in the dying minutes. In fact, the dying minute of the match. And I think overall the Hammers have been in better form than the Toffees of late, at least. So I think maybe getting them on the draw or something like that might be a way to bet this game, getting West Ham on
Yeah,
side.
bookies giving Everton the edge here because of the home factor, and also their last six games they've won all of their last six games at home. One of them was on penalties, which was a not a Premier League
Mm,
game, but playing pretty well at home. I fancy a draw in this one, to be honest. I think
mm,
West Ham rather will get something out of this. And
yeah,
I'm not sure what the draw on a bet 2.05 on West Ham. I think that's not a bad
yeah,
shout.
yeah.
The double chance is 1.53, so might include that one in some accumulators. I think that might be
Mm,
something to have a punt on. Yeah, we completely skipped over the IPL, Simon. I haven't
yes.
been watching, so let's jump over to that quickly.
Yeah, well, as I think I mentioned last week, I mean, I haven't been watching very closely as well, but I do like to keep an eye on it, especially as we get to the final stages. And we are nearly into the finals now. The Chennai Super Kings have already booked their place in the last two. And then at 4 p.m. today, South African time, the Knight Riders will play the Delhi Capitals, which will decide the other finalist who will play the Super Kings. In this one, I mean, the KKK are marginal favorites,
Oof,
and they've got
yeah,
six.
it's looking so close. I've got
Yeah,
1.91 and 1.89 here, so basically a pick 'em.
yeah, very, very close. They've got six wins in their last eight, but it's actually the Capitals who have been more consistent in recent years, and they're actually, funnily enough, the only team to qualify for the playoffs in the last three seasons. So they are, although they don't necessarily always play out of their socks, they're very consistent. The Capitals. So I think KKK arguably have a higher pedigree of players, but I think this game really, really could go either way. I think often with these, especially when you get to the latter stages, I think often these teams, it always often comes down to the toss. I mean, for instance, in these games, a lot of these two teams, especially, like to chase targets, so they like to bowl first. So, if they both perform well on the day, the coin toss could be what decides, either team's fate in the tournament. Whoever wins the toss might choose to chase the target and then win. So I think it's going to be a game of very, very fine margins.
And of those two sides, do you think either of them are capable of beating the Super Kings?
Sure. I would have to give the edge there again to KKK just from an experience point of view. But sure. I think IPL generally is
Yeah,
always such
coin
a
toss, eh?
it's a bit of a coin flip. But when you get to sort of the four best teams in the league, I mean, it just really depends on what happens on the day. And as I said, I think the coin toss is so important. If you actually watch, you'll see if you watch live cricket betting, you'll see how the odds change when the coin toss is decided. Because in a game like this, it can make that 5% difference that just gives your team the edge.
Yeah, you kind of, when you're taking a bet on one of the sides before the match, that is something that's, you do have to consider. Because
Mm,
as you said, those odds are going to move, and it's always nice when you've taken a bet at, say, like even money, and they win the
right.
toss and they get to do what they want. You'll see those odds drift down to maybe
Yes.
1.85 around there. Putting them as favorites essentially.
Hmm.
And yeah, I do love live cricket betting. Yeah, I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast in the past that I'm not really happy with the current kind of product or offering of
Yeah.
live cricket betting across the board. It's not at any particular bookmaker, pretty much all of them. I just feel like
Mm,
it's been a big step backwards. But
yeah.
hopefully it's a cracker game. I think that's one that I might want to watch the highlights of. It should be a
Yeah.
cracker. And then the final, I actually probably will watch.
Yes, I can't remember when that is exact. I think it'll be Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, the second semi is today at 4 o'clock, being a Tuesday. Sorry, being a Wednesday.
Yeah, so yeah, let's hope for a cracker there. Then let's have a quick chat about GBets for guys who don't have a GBets account. We want to have a quick talk about what they have to offer. They've got a nice sign up free bet where if you open an account, you'll get a little free bet to use. I think your winnings are limited. It's more of a
Mm,
kind of, I don't want to say play funds or play money. It's more just to test out the site, have a play around with it. They're pretty much the same as pure bets, just kind of skinned differently. A couple of things are different here and there. And then they've also got that 100% deposit match up to £1,000. And if you guys don't have an account, you can open an account, and if you ask for a promo code, use BSBZA to let them know that you've listened to the podcast. Simon, I think you've got one for Betting Guide as well. It's BGZA or
yes, that's right. Yeah, so either use BSBZA or use BGZA as the promo code. They used to have a 30 rand free bet. That's now 25. It was a bit confusing actually. I think they've made things a bit clearer for punters now. There was a couple of different free bets going around, but now it's a solid 25. You can only bet it on sports, and the win is limited to 50 rand. So 50 rand is the maximum you can withdraw from that free bet,
yeah.
and you'll
So
need to
that's
also make a deposit.
those are the limits that I was talking about. Just here we go.
Mm,
The 25 rand free bet is valid for one single bet at a minimum odds of 1.7, and the maximum winnings of 25 rand will be transferred to your account, and then your
yeah.
stake will be voided. And then you need to make a minimum deposit of 25 rand in order to withdraw that, and you also going to need to play through that deposit at least once. So that's more something just to check them out, see what you think. I do like the platform. I like all the casino games on offer. I think that's one of
Mm.
their strongest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you look at the amount of providers they have, I think Hollywood Bets would probably be their only rival in that department. They really have, casino games from multiple providers. So there's a very good offering in terms of casino. So sports about average, but for casino bettors, there's a lot for G bets, a lot at G bets to be excited about.
And then also lots of promotions. They are very heavy on their promotions. They've got promotions for lots of different sports, multi-bet bonuses, stake back specials, golf, all of those good things. There's a lot to go check out on there. They also do mix it up quite a bit, so you want to keep an eye on that promotions page for anything new. And then while we're speaking about bookmakers, Simon, you've had another look at Superbets recently. They've gone through a complete overhaul.
Yes, I have. Yeah, they've reskinned the whole site. I must say it is a lot better. I still find it's a little bit on the confusing side. I mean, I just think that their site still looks a little busy. I think it's a vast improvement on the previous site where you had just flashing banners and strange boxes, and it just was very hard to navigate. But I think, to be honest, that can all be avoided by using a mobile phone,
Yes,
which
the
is
mobile site's great. Yeah.
what 95% of people use anywhere. So, I think the mobile experience is great. They've still got their 50 sign-on bonus, which they've had for a while now, and then you can also get a 200% deposit match up to 1,000. So what that actually means is quite nice. Is you only have to deposit 500 to get the maximum bonus of 1,000.
Yeah, I think
And
they're the only bookmaker that's doing a 200% match.
Yes, that's right. And there are some T's and C's that you need to just be aware of there. So just go have a look on their site. You'll find those. Or have a look at the Superbets review on Betting Guide, and you'll see all the terms and conditions are included there.
And yeah, always just check the wagering for the deposit offer, because you don't want to get caught in some terrible wagering that you'd find at some bookmakers around South Africa. For me, it's not really a problem. Now, I bet enough to burn through that wagering, but there are lots of punters out there who like to take advantage of these free bet offers, and often they get stuck
They can't withdraw.
not
Yeah.
realizing they have to wager both their deposit and the bonus. I mean, we've seen some terrible ones in the past. I think Superbets were guilty of that as well
Yeah.
on the old side, where it was something like 10 times. I think WSB's one used to be quite prohibitive as well. But these are always great things to take advantage of. So
Yeah,
definitely.
I think with Superbets as well. Just looking at their product offering, I mean, they haven't got an amazing sports product, but they have a lot of football. I mean, if you're wanting to punt on soccer, they have absolutely everything, and they do have 1,300 markets on average for an
Oh,
EPL game,
that's a lot.
which is a lot. But they don't offer as many sports as bookmakers like Betway and Hollywood Bets and so on. But they have a lot of casino games if you want to play Keno or Spin and Win, as well as all the Evolution and Azugi live games. So they also have a very, very nice live games offering. So do check them out.
Yeah, it's just speaking about 1,000 odd markets. I remember that I think one of the worst ones in South Africa was Sport Pesa, who I really don't know if why people bet there. I'm just looking at the site now, and they've got it's terrible. They've got 22 markets for soccer matches.
Wow. It's
23.
almost like an exchange rather than a
Yeah,
bookmaker.
we've got Watford
Yeah.
versus Liverpool here. They've got 23 markets, and those markets, I mean, I could probably list them here. I'm not going to, but there's 23 of them, and that's including things like three-way, both teams to score, double chance, over unders,
Wow.
first half, total goals, correct score. I've probably gone through like a third of them now.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot on offer, and I just don't understand how a bookmaker can only offer that for so many years and still be around.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're offering absolutely incredible odds, which are just incomparable anywhere else, that would be one thing. But to to offer that few markets and just have an average product is just it's not acceptable.
Yeah, we can have a quick look at the odds actually. I mean, I'm over on GBets, and let's say we've got Watford here, and you're getting 9.1 on GBets for Watford, and on SportPesa you're getting 8.07, but that 8.07 is I'm hoping that's just a different odds display. However,
Yeah.
Watford, Liverpool are 1.35 on both platforms. So GBets have 1.35, and
Yeah.
Sport Pesa have 1.35, but that price on Sport Pesa on Watford then is just absolutely terrible. If you're getting 9.1 on GBets, and 8 point, that's a heck of a difference.
Yeah, it's about a 12% difference, yeah, on the underdog for sure.
Really, really not good. But yeah, that's where we're going to call it, guys. Been a short one, not too much sport. We'll have some more exciting things to talk about next week. Hopefully, some updates in the Premier League or something exciting going on that we can chat about. But that's where we're going to call it, guys. Thanks for tuning into this video. Don't forget to use those two promo codes, BSBZA on GBets and BGZA. As well, if you want to sign up and let them know that you've been listening to the podcast. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.